This just in.
It's 49ers Cutback podcast time. Welcome to a big news update for the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, coming out of the game, there were question marks. What's going on with Fred Warner? What's going on with George Kittle and his ribs? And we know that he kept playing and he kept it completely fun and vague during his presser. But there were definitely question marks about key 49ers players, including defensive tackle Jordan Elliott and what was going on with that knee. So, people have been waiting. We've been waiting to see what was going to come down with these injuries. Fred Warner talked about the fact that he was going to be going through tests, and those tests were going to reveal more and more about how he felt. Because he said, "Hey, if I could have went, I would have went." And so now we're starting to find out what those injuries are and exactly how these guys are going to progress. And I think for the most part, it's really good news for the San Francisco 49ers. And let's start with Fred Warner. Kyle Shanahan said in his presser today that Fred Warner is going to be listed as day-to-day. That's good news, right? We remember when Leonard Floyd got an MCL sprain and Yetur Gross-Matos got an MCL sprain during the preseason. Day-to-day for Leonard Floyd, week-to-week for Gross-Matos. Floyd came back sooner rather than later, and Gross-Matos missed the first week of the season. So the designations definitely detail how long these players are going to be out. So for Fred Warner, it's good news. Day-to-day means it's nothing significant. It's no real bad injury to that ankle, which means it's likely a low ankle sprain and not a high ankle sprain. A high ankle sprain is what Micah Parsons is dealing with right now. You're talking 4 to 6 weeks potentially holding him out. Now Fred Warner is day-to-day. That's good news for the 49ers because the 49ers really need Fred Warner over the next several weeks. You've got Arizona, who has ran the football very well on the 49ers, especially last season down the stretch. They really got to go with James Conner. Plus, you have Kyler Murray and his ability to run the football as well. You need all-pro Fred manning the middle of that defense, and it appears that that's a chance right now. I don't want to go out and tell you that, yes, he's for sure going to be playing on Sunday against the Cardinals, but I think it's a lot more likely now that he's going to be playing than it was even 24 hours ago. So good news for the 49ers. Fred Warner likely to be out there on Sunday to play the Cardinals. And, hey, day-to-day, I'll take it. George Kittle, the ribs, I think this one was a foregone conclusion, right? We all thought, hey, yeah, he's going to be able to play, and that's going to be good news for the 49ers. He's going to be able to step in and keep going. So it was a hamstring coming into the game, leaving the question marks were about the ribs. But the fact that he went out there and played throughout the rest of the game, I think is a good sign. And a lot of times when it comes to ribs, as long as it's not too bad, most of it is about pain management and not about not being able to do something. So George Kittle had himself one heck of a game, 4 targets, 4 catches, big touchdown over 3 defenders. And the 49ers need George Kittle. He's a difference maker. He's an all-pro, and he really sets the tone when it comes to the run game. And George Kittle is going to be available for the 49ers day-to-day. Jordan Elliott, big concern for the 49ers after that football game last week, goes down with a foot injury. And it's so significant because of the injury to Javon Hargrave. Hargrave being out meant there was a void that needed to be filled. Who do you fill it with? Well, it makes sense to go Jordan Elliott. And Jordan Elliott stepped in, and he did a good job in his snaps that he was in the game on Sunday versus the Patriots. But then he got some friendly fire. They were all rushing the passer, and he's going after Jacoby Brissett, and he takes a shot in the legs. And unfortunately, he went down, and Kyle Shanahan said after the game he was dealing with swelling. They did not believe it was an ACL, but they were going to do tests to make sure. Well, guess what? Jordan Elliott is listed as day-to-day, and so that's great news for the 49ers. Jordan Elliott, they need him when it comes to being a part of this interior defensive line. They elevated Evan Anderson, the undrafted free agent rookie, and I thought he did a good job. But having Jordan Elliott to go a part of this rotation helps you make up for the loss of Javon Hargrave. There's no way to actually make up for the production you're losing from Hargrave, but that goes a long way in helping you be able to sustain and kind of bridge the gap and get things done on the interior part of that defensive line. And I think the 49ers got a nice chemistry going where Elliott plays early downs and helps stop the run, and Gross-Matos plays late downs and helps get after the quarterback. And that's exactly what you need to do if you're going to be putting pressure as a defender for the San Francisco 49ers. I will say this, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. If you're listening on audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe, please give it a 5-star rating. And if you're going to bet with BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline is every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. You think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. So let's talk about another guy that I don't know if it snuck under the radar when it came to injury. What was Kyle Juszczyk? Juszczyk at the end of the football game was dealing with a shoulder injury. And the good news, nothing significant. He's listed as day-to-day. Right now, a common theme, right? You've got Fred Warner, day-to-day. Jordan Elliott, day-to-day. George Kittle, day-to-day. And now Kyle Juszczyk, day-to-day. That's great news for the 49ers. You gotta have your guys. You got to be healthy. And right now, the 49ers are hanging on, right? A lot of guys on the injury report, but right now, nothing significant, at least so far, and that is good news for the 49ers. 2 more offensive weapons that were on the injury list. Jacob Cowing was reported during the game that he had a shoulder injury. That is why you saw Kyle Juszczyk back returning the punt. But Jacob Cowing did come out of the locker room and was back. Tests are going in the right direction. He's listed as day-to-day as well. And it was good news because he didn't get a lot of snaps, got a handful of snaps last week against the Patriots. But we want to see him more integrated into this 49ers offense. And an injury right now would not help his cause, with the 49ers needing to make decisions at wide receiver with potentially players coming back. Other players like Ronnie Bell that they kept inactive. It's completely a fluid situation in San Francisco. And so Jacob Cowing cannot afford to get hurt right now. 49ers definitely need him when it comes to returning punts. And I think they want to see him get more acclimated and have more of a opportunity when it comes to the passing game. Chris Conley was sick going into the game. He was ill, and there's been an illness running through the 49ers locker room. Trent Williams was sick last week, and also so was Chris Conley, just to name a few. But Conley was dealing with an oblique injury. He was able to tough it out during the game. That's always something concerning, the way you have to use your body. I mean, Kenneth Walker has been missing a lot of time for the Seattle Seahawks dealing with an oblique injury. So sometimes it can be something that's not good for you, and it can keep you out of games. So we'll see. Your oblique is actually used in a lot of your functions. And as a football player, you need your core muscles to be a big part of your functionality when making the plays you have to make. But he's day-to-day. That's good news. We need Chris Conley. He does the dirty work for this 49ers team. He's a great blocker. He can make the occasional catch. He's pivotal on special teams. Plus, he's a good leader and somebody that has the ear of the young players. So 49ers kind of have some guys here, but every single one of them are listed as day-to-day. And Kyle Shanahan said he's very happy they are listed as day-to-day and not more. One guy not listed on the injury report that I was kind of surprised was DFF. So he wasn't listed as injured, even though he stayed down in the late minutes of the game on Sunday versus the Patriots. And that's good news. It means DFF could be capable of playing. And he's been a starter for this 49ers team through the front part of this season. So DFF not listed, and with some of the injury concerns at linebacker to Fred, and some of the others, we've had concerns about the depth at linebacker, but it looks like it's going to be okay. Fred, day-to-day, DFF not listed on that list. Neither is D. Winters, which means both those guys should be capable and ready, and we're going to need them against the Cardinals. You got to make sure you stop James Conner and that running back room. Now, Christian McCaffrey came out today. Matt Mayoko put it out that he is dealing with Achilles tendonitis in both ankles and both legs. And John Lynch had actually said this on Friday. So it wasn't like really, new news, but it's kind of catching on today. So maybe it went kind of under the radar from what he said on KNBR on Friday. But a lot of times this is normal when you're dealing with Achilles tendonitis in one. you overcompensate and it can cause tendonitis in the other, or even much worse, a rupture as you're kind of using one to compensate for the other. So they knew he had tendonitis in both. Kyle Shanahan said today that it's usually one more so than the other, but sometimes he can get it in both. And so this is something they're trying to figure out if they can manage. Last week, the conversation was they're looking to ramp up Christian McCaffrey this week. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but now we know that he's been dealing with tendonitis in both legs. Good news for the 49ers, though. Kalia Davis could have his practice window opened this week, according to Kyle Shanahan. He said as early as this week, he could be starting to work his way back, and that means they've got questions when it comes to defensive line depth, and Kalia Davis can answer some of those questions. He had such a great first preseason game and preseason matchup. Everyone was excited about him, and then they found out he had the injury. He had the operation, and it was a scope, so you can recover really quickly. Now he could be coming back. How quickly he will be ready? Will it be the Cardinals? Will it be Seattle? Will they make him wait till Kansas City? We'll see. But I think it's good news for the 49ers, potentially get a guy coming off IR and able to step in. And now you go back to a full rotation of guys. Elliott to go along with Malik Collins on that first unit. And that second unit, Kevin Givens and Kalia Davis, penetrators who can do things in the backfield. I like that. So 49ers getting some much needed help potentially with Kalia Davis. And we'll see. Maybe he'll be activated or at least his window opened as early as Wednesday. And then rookie Ricky Pearsall. He is eligible to come off the NFI this week, or at least start practicing and have his window opened as well. But Kyle Shanahan said they haven't finalized a plan so far on when he's going to come back. He said, we haven't decided yet. We're going to need to think about it here today and tomorrow. But no, we haven't decided that yet. So everyone's wanting to know the specifics of him coming back off the NFI and if he's going to need extra time before they open the practice window. And even when the practice window opens, when exactly is he going to come back? Kyle Shanahan said, we'll see when he gets back to practice and we'll judge by that. But yeah, I really don't make any judgments until I see guys go through practice week. So the same things for what you're going to see from Pearsall potentially come back. You could probably relate very heavily to Kalia Davis. They have to see him on the field to know if he's going to be able to come back right away or if it's going to take some time. But Kyle Shanahan said, I get excited when guys come off injury lists. Whenever they do, just get them back into practice. And that's really the first time you see them do any football stuff, and you kind of make a decision as the week goes. So Shanahan is excited about possibly getting guys back. And there's other guys coming down the bend here pretty soon. You got John Feliciano at some point, right? Drake Greenlaw down the stretch. But you're talking about two players here in Kalia Davis and Ricky Pearsall. And the 49ers have roster spots available. So we'll see. Hopefully both of those practice windows will get opened on Wednesday. And we'll see Kalia Davis and Ricky Pearsall working their way back. But overall, it's fantastic news for the San Francisco 49ers. None of the injuries were significant enough to make these players not day-to-day, which means they all could be ready to go for a divisional matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Thank you guys all for watching this 49ers Cutback News Update. Of course, I'd like to thank you and say please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. The game starts here. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay safe. Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.